Hi guys, S.L.Ager here, author of the 11 plus vocabulary novels and their supporting workbooks, the Cadwallader Quests. You can see all those behind me there. I wanted to pop on today to talk about comprehension. As in the Facebook groups, I see lots and lots of questions asking for comprehension tips, and I always like to share the things that I did with my children. So everything I say is not set in stone. It's just what worked for us. Both my kids passed the 11 plus, and comprehension was not their strong point. They struggled. We did multiple choice comprehension in our test, but I'm actually going to talk about standard answer questions as well. I've got some notes before me and on my screen, so excuse my eyes if they go up and down. And again, this is just my personal experience with my children and is not set in stone. And also what I'm going to talk about is best practice for home. So unless I say hone it for the tests, this is how we work. So we did our very best practice at home, and then nearer the tests we started working on speed, because if you haven't got the accuracy and the technique, there's no point working on speed, because otherwise you're just going to be making your mistakes quicker, if that makes sense. So there's an argument that I see a lot with comprehension, and a lot of parents ask me this, and the question is, should my child read the questions first? So what I would say to that is, it's up to you. So try both ways. Try doing comprehension with your child where you don't read the questions beforehand and see how they get on, and then try the method where you read the questions first. Personally, I like to skim read the questions first, because it sort of trips something in my brain which enables me to look for the things that I've read. But again, test it and see what works for you. There are two schools of thoughts there. Another little tip that I found with my kids, and I will go into some more structured tips in a minute, was as they're reading, if you see their mind wandering, as everybody's mind wanders when they're reading, just get them to pause and go back and reread from the sort of previous sentence onwards. Otherwise, they'll miss those bits out. And yeah, one other little tip, I really found this helped with my kids, was following the words in the text either with their finger, if they feel that's a bit childish, as Jude used to say, no, a pencil or a ruler, because so often they used to miss out whole lines, and they just weren't aware that they'd done it. So those are my sort of tips before we start. So I'll put those notes to one side there, and I'm going to now refer to the notes I've got before me and my notes on the screen. Okay, and have I got any? Yeah, so the first thing I would say when you're starting is look at the title of the comprehension, because the comprehension, and they're quite often taken from books. So the title of the comprehension and the book that maybe the extract is from will give you a clue as to the time setting and the genre of the comprehension. So again, it sounds really obvious, but it's something that really helps. If it sets up the stage for what you're about to do. So again, decide whether you want to read the questions first. I do, and then again, this is practice at home, so hone it for the tests. So what I would do first, read the questions, then skim read the passage. And when you skim read the passage, underline anything that jumps out. So dates, names, specific places, depending on whether it's fiction or a factual comprehension. But remember, don't underline everything, because if you do that, then you're just going to have a whole piece that's just underlined, and that's not going to help. And you can, don't try and understand in that skim read. Don't try and understand the meaning of every word, because if you try and do that, it'll just slow you down. We can work that out a little bit later. And also another tip is, remember, the answers in a text usually come in order. So question 1 usually relates to something in the first few lines. Question 2 maybe further down, and so on and so on. And also when you're answering, if they're not multiple choice questions, which are usually 1 mark, always spend more time on the standard form answers that are allocating more points. So if something is 3 points, 3 marks, you will need 3 points. If something's 4 marks, then you'll need 4 points. Often, unless it states that all answers must be in full sentences, if it's a 1 mark question, you probably don't need a really long sentence to get that 1 mark. But always read the read the mark scheme. Make sure you understand that before you start. So if the instruction says all answers in full sentences, then that's what you do. Otherwise, I think for a 1 marker, you can do a very short phrase. It doesn't have to be a grammatically correct sentence. But the longer questions, make sure you're actually writing in full sentences. So when you're reading through, get your children to maybe summarize the paragraph in their head or annotate it by the paragraph. So in 1 sentence, nothing more, what is happening in that paragraph. I found this really helped. And also what I used to say to my kids as well was, build a picture in your head, even if it's a factual comprehension. So if they're talking about, I don't know, cleaning up a beach, picture the beach, picture the people picking up litter, picture what they're doing, because I found it was much easier to recall information from pictures. And if it's fiction, again, picture the characters, picture what they're doing. If there's a big cherry tree in blossom in the garden, picture all that, because I found it was easier with my kids for them to recall pictures rather than specific words. So if they can picture what's going on as well, that really helps. When you're so if you skim read through once, highlighting things, read it through again. So again, this is best practice at home. Read it through again and really underline, take more care underlining words that really are now becoming more salient points to the text. For synonym and antonym questions, if you've got synonym and antonym questions, always check the context. So the meaning can be very different. That's the whole point with synonyms and antonyms. You like for instance the word snipe. So to snipe can mean to actually shoot somebody from a secret location, or it can mean to make a scornful comment about somebody. So my point is don't jump to the conclusion of the word. Make sure it fits into the sentence for a synonym and antonym question. Yeah, also as well, should you choose which questions to answer first? So if you're stuck for time, then possibly answer the direct questions first. So almost the yes and no answers. If you're not stuck for time, what I would do is I would answer in order and answer all the questions that you can answer easily, that you're very confident of first. But also what I would say, never ever just ruminate over one question. If it's not coming to you straight away and you're really struggling, move on, because it's better to answer 6 questions rather than 1, obviously. But kids, don't think that way. They might panic and they get stuck and they're not hearing the time tick away. For standard answers, again, you will possibly need your PEE, so your point, your evidence and your explanation to expand on your answers. And again, 3 marks, 3 points. To improve comprehension, I would say it's practice, and obviously try and do a wide variety of comprehensions, multiple choice and standard answer. Even if your 11 plus is all multiple choice, I would recommend doing some standard answer comprehensions as well. They're never going to be a waste of time. And with multiple choice or kind of direct answer questions, but multiple choice moreover, always eliminate. So what do I mean by eliminate? So you've got your question, if you've got 4 answers, immediately eliminate the answers you know are totally wrong. And that's going to make your odds of getting the right answer higher. So, you know, your odds are going from 25% to 50%. And hopefully, even if you're stuck, you can then make an educated guess. And remember, the answer in comprehension, the answer is always in the text. With inference questions, look for clues. There's usually always a clue. And so what I tend to find with comprehension and synonyms and antonyms, there will be one very tricky word, using air quotes, tricky word in a sentence. Quite often the author will then give you a clue as to the meaning of that tricky word, possibly later on in that sentence, or in the next sentence, or even in the next paragraph. So with kids, when they're trying to infer and read between the lines, make sure that they're reading before and after, and literally thinking out of the box. Because I think with kids, sometimes they don't understand the technique that the author will put a clue in there and that they can marry them both together. And certainly when I write, I'm obviously writing vocabulary novels, so that's different. I actually kind of overwrite my sentences to get in the synonyms and antonyms. So my sentences always give many clues because I'm trying to get the vocab in there. Have I missed anything? I think. Yes, so keywords in the questions. Okay, so I missed that one out. So if you read the questions first, or if you read the questions after, look for keywords in the question that will correlate to the text, and hopefully you may even have underlined those already. Okay, so keywords and key phrases which you can tie back to the passage. Also, as well, I've seen advocated, and again, this is only at home, I've seen tutors recommending 3 read-throughs. So questions first, skim read, then a read, and then to go back and reread each section as you're answering the questions. And again, for best practice at home, I would probably do that, and then maybe hone your skills for the test. So the test, you may not have that much time, so you may have to cut out one of the read-throughs and just perfect. But again, it's up to you and your child. Nothing is set in stone. And as a parent, you always pretty much know best, I would say. So just let me check my screen. Have I missed anything here? Yeah, let's just talk about so maybe some of the things that the examiner might say in their instructions. Okay, so and these will be in their questions. So if they say in your own words, obviously the question has to be answered in the child's own words. They may say refer to the passage, so refer to the passage. Evidence, use evidence from the passage to support an answer. That's going to be your PEE questions. Okay, so if they say in your own words, then your child mustn't quote exactly from the text. You know, they don't want to rephrase. They don't want to just take a phrase exactly from the text. They need to explain that in their own words, and they could possibly lose marks for just picking something out of the text and writing it as a quote. If they're asked for a quote, then obviously they can quote the text. Yes, and I think that's probably about everything. I'm just trying to think, was there anything else that we did? For my kids hated reading classic books, and for what the books we really like to help with classic comprehension, apart obviously from my workbooks which cover multiple choice and standard answer questions, we really like the First Past the Post classic books. So they're classic comprehension books, so they were multiple choice. I don't know if they do a standard answer. Robert Lomax has also got a great multiple choice comprehension book out now. It's a big fat book, really good value, lots of work in there, and tells you how to do them. And also his 11 plus lifeline is excellent. Yeah, and my books, my books with the green triangle in the top right hand corner, they're the supporting workbooks. So each novel has a supporting workbook. They're creative writing and comprehension, and this one with the blue triangle in the top right hand corner is all multiple choice, but has over, I think, maybe 20 or 30 comprehensions in there. But yeah, again, down to you, down to your child. Best practice at home, getting nearer the test, hone your skills for the tests. You've got to get the accuracy first, the techniques, and then get the speed going. So I hope that helps. If you've got any more questions, just comment in the thread. If you like what I do, please give me a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe, because there'll be more and more videos coming up soon. So thanks a lot. Bye.